Teresa DeBerra was nearing the end of her 6th month of pregnancy when she, her husband Sandy, and their 3-year-old daughter set out to enjoy one last relaxing vacation before the baby was born. On November 23rd, 1994, they boarded a flight in New York bound for Orlando, Florida, thinking they were leaving all their worries behind.
Teresa woke up with slight pain in her abdomen. What she thought was maybe indigestion. She spoke to one of the obstetricians and she said, "I'm leaving for Orlando. What do you think?" And he goes, "Good luck, have a good time." 15, 20 minutes into the flight, the pain started becoming progressively more intense and more frequent.
Sandy got the attention of flight service manager Meg Somerville.
The first question came out of my mouth. I said, "Are you pregnant?" And then very soft voice, "But it's only 6 months." He didn't look pregnant at all. Sir, do you mind to back at those seats? We have some seats around the corner. Ladies and gentlemen, we are looking for a physician. If you feel...
Dr. Stephen Racklin, an internist from Long Island, happened to be on board. James and Jen Midgley were seated a few rows behind the DeBerras.
The stewardess is walking by, and I stopped her and I told her that my husband and I were both paramedics if they needed any help. She told me at that time that they had a physician and that they were all set.
She told me she's expecting a baby and pregnant.
Initially, she didn't look too bad. She told me that she had the same false contractions with her first child.
Oh, okay.
But I've really had no training in obstetrics. And then she said she felt moisture. Get the flight attendant, we have a problem.
Jerry, this is Meg.
Jerry McFerrin was the captain of Flight 265.
Once she started bleeding, I thought, well, that does it. We're going to have to divert. So I just immediately went into a right-hand turn because I knew we were passing by Dulles Airport.
Gloves, blankets,
towels.
Teresa let out a yell right from the gut, and I was totally devastated at that point.
There. Coming in really fast.
There's really very little medical equipment. Knowing that the baby was a preterm, I really did not know if the baby was going to survive.
That's it. At that point, there was no denying it. The baby was coming. But when the baby came out, the umbilical cord was wrapped around his neck and he was blue. So it was obvious to everybody that there was something terribly wrong.
Breathe, baby, breathe.
Flight attendant Connie Duquette had helped with the delivery.
The baby's just draped over the doctor's hand, and the doctor was slapping the baby and going, "Breathe, baby, breathe," and the baby wasn't breathing. And that was really hard to see. And it went on and on. The captain called over the PA, 10 seconds to touchdown. The baby just wasn't breathing. And then it just got down to a litany of, "Please, God, please, God."
I knew from my vantage point something had changed. My husband and I are both paramedics if you need help.
My wife said that, we were trained in emergency childbirth and pediatric resuscitation. Being the forceful one in the family, she felt something was wrong, and she felt that she could help.
When I got up there, the doctor looked up at me and said he didn't think the baby was going to make it.
He actually wasn't breathing at all, and the heart rate was extremely low.
Do you have anything for suction? Infants are nose breathers, so I asked for a straw or something to suction. One of the stewardesses had brought a juice box from home and brought me the straw still in the wrapper.
Come on, baby. Come on, baby, breathe.
I didn't want to cause a lot of trauma. This was a very small infant. But I just inserted the straw until I met a little bit of resistance and sucked out some of the fluid that was in there. The baby was very blue. I don't know how else to describe it, but just very blue.
Let's continue CPR.
Need to get something
Mouth to mouth.
Newborns, as soon as they're born, we give them a rating. On a scale of 1 to 10, it's called NAPCAR. 10 is great, perfect newborn, 0 is dead. the baby had an APGAR of 1.
Come on, keep going. Doing cardiac percussion.
My wife had already started mouth to mouth, and the heart rate had not increased. So at that point, we decided to initiate cardiac compressions as well.
This taxi seemed like it went on forever. And at that point, doctor said, I've got to tie and cut this cord. I was already on my knees with the mother, so I just dropped on all fours and started crawling down the aisle looking at people's shoelaces. And then I saw this man with a brand new pair of lace-up shoes on, brand new. Oh, these are perfect.
Let's get ready to tie the cord off.
It became very quiet, very solemn.
Come on, let's go. You can do it.
You could hear a pin drop by that point. I was terrified like I had never been terrified. I was convinced that he was not going to make it. And that's when the baby finally breathed, and he let out a little whimper, and we went from a mood of defeat to a total rejoicing there.
So I just picked up the PA and I yelled, "It's a boy," and the whole plane started cheering, and people were crying, and it was great.
Dad came over and gave me a big hug. It was like a miracle.
I remember people in the cabin clapping, although I didn't think there was much to clap about at that point. I mean, it wasn't like, I had won the Stanley Cup or anything.
35-year-old Teresa DeBera and her newborn baby boy were taken to Reston Hospital Center in Washington, D.C., where neonatologist James Davis examined the infant.
It was just a very extremely immature baby. He was still struggling by just looking at his chest. He was having some struggles with breathing, and so we knew that we had some problems.
As we were coming into the hospital, the 2 EMTs that took the baby to the hospital are coming out, and that's when they told us that he would probably be okay.
About ready to go, buddy? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Born nearly 3 months premature, the baby weighed just 4 pounds, 6 ounces.
The mother was still receiving some care, and we didn't just want to call him baby. So since he was born at Dulles Airport, we just started calling him Dulles.
There you go. Squeeze just a little bit. There you go.
While we had not discussed any names for the baby in particular, we got a kind of a kick out of that, baby Dulles, and so therefore we got Matthew Dulles DeBera.
Amazingly, after only 3 weeks in the hospital, Matthew was released in good health, just in time to go home for Christmas.
Thank you so much. Merry Christmas.
The folks at Reston Hospital will forever be in our hearts and in our prayers.
You're welcome. Good luck.
Recently, the DeBera family got a chance to be reunited with all the people who helped with baby Matthew's unusual delivery.
It was nice to see the baby. He looked extremely healthy. He was full of life, which was nice to see because that's not the way he came into this world.
Can I hold him?
You sure can.
Sure.
Hey.
Absolutely.
Hi. We weren't originally scheduled to be on this flight at all. I'm proud that we're part of the reason that he's here. And I'll probably be keeping tabs on him for the rest of his life. The rest of mine, anyway.
How's he been doing since he came home?
He's gained 2 pounds.
These people were like 2 angels that were just dropped in this airplane by God. I mean, they were destined to be there, I guess.
Dr. Ackland kept me calm and focused. He's a nutritionist, but he makes pretty good emergency GYN, too.
Hello, Matthew.
How come you didn't name him after me? We departed with 213 souls on board, and then we landed with 214.
Let me see our baby. Bless you. Our baby. Our baby.
The epilogue of this. Well, we had many children on the airplane, and the children were saying that they now know where babies come from. They come from airplanes.
I can't think that Matthew was meant to be born any place but on that airplane. I can only think that he's destined for good things. I don't know what those good things are. If he's going to be a Nobel Prize winner or if he's going to be just a really good bus driver. But he's destined for very good things.
Yes. Okay. Big kiss. Big kiss.